I was sitting here on Friday talking about statement game on Friday, and you lose. You nearly drop you got a 60 burger hung on you the last time you played this team, and then they come and beat you 35-0 in a game where it didn't even feel like they played that great. But on the other side of that, you played like absolute trash. I mean, holy crap! And I know it's only the second game of the season, but I do think that a lot of the fears the Dolphins fans had came to fruition yesterday. People were worried about the O-line. People were worried about Jalen Phillips. Yesterday had to be an awful day for Chris Grier. Like we could say that, Leroy. Like, just as a feeling, I don't know about what everything's going to pan out for, but I got to think Chris Grier yesterday, when he's eating his chicken parm sub, reflecting on the day that was, he's thinking to himself,
chicken parm sub.
I just picture that's how I drain my sorrows. That's what I do.
Hey, after yesterday's game, his ass need to be eating a fruit cup.
But yeah, like Noah Igbenogany, inactive again, which is basically the make good for Minka Fitzpatrick, who, look, objectively, hey, he turned out to be a really good player. He's just not here. But the guy that you had the crack at to replace him with, he can't get on the field. Austin Jackson, the offensive tackle you took after Tua Tagovailoa, he doesn't look that great. And Tua Tagovailoa, some of the questions, all right, talent, all that stuff shaken out. People were worried about his durability. Could he hang? Could his body hold up in this league? I don't know. I'm just saying, Leroy. These are all.
Ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's fine. These are all things that have to be going through his mind yesterday. They have to be.
Okay.
They all have to be going through his mind. When you're seeing Justin Herbert putting up another 300-yard game, all of this stuff has to be going through his mind yesterday. It has to be. You watch that Gregory Rousseau is getting 2 sacks a game, and Jalen Phillips is doing nothing. Like it all has to be going through his mind at some point. You're seeing, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow hook up for long touchdowns, and you're seeing Jalen Waddle, cough up the ball all over the place. I'm not saying anything has to be a final depiction of what these guys are or what these picks are going to be, but I got to think yesterday has to be an awful feeling for Chris Grier, because nothing felt like it worked out for him yesterday.
Right. Mm-hmm. Here's what I would say about everything that you just said. He should definitely be concerned about one thing. Under no circumstances can you have 2 first-round picks inactive. Okay? If you're going to build a team and you're going to build a franchise and you're going to build an organization.
Who's the other one?
It's going to be with them multiple first-round picks. And none of them can be projects.
Well, only one of them.
They have to be contributors right away.
Only one of them was inactive. It's just Jalen Phillips just doesn't make an impact. You just don't see him do it.
Okay, whatever. Again, first round pick says to me that I can put you in a game and your presence will be felt.
100%.
Okay? The one exception is offensive line. Because I just think as a group, that's where you're going to grow. You can't make an impact as an individual on the offensive line. But as a pass rusher, you only got one job. As a cornerback, you can usually play all over the field if you're any good.
Right.
So you have to understand that if Noah Igbenogany can't get on the field, it's like 7 DBs on that team better than him.
Like Justin Jefferson went 3 picks after Austin Jackson. Imagine having Herbert and Jefferson right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be – nothing has to be – you don't have to be here, and you don't have to not believe that some of these guys are going to work out. But as the general manager for him, he's had a lot of draft capital, and it feels like none of these high draft picks are surefire stars. None of them.
Well,
none of them.
Again, as far as Phillips and as far as Noah,
yep,
their impact, they should be able to do something on the football field the second they get into the building.
Yeah.
Because of what they do. Okay? Austin Jackson, I'm gonna say it may take a little bit. Tua, okay, quarterback. I'll give you those 2. I'm not going, but I'm telling you, there is no player that you should draft in the first round other than quarterback and offensive lineman that you shouldn't have a spot for. A contributor shouldn't be a contributor immediately.
And they spent a lot of draft capital on this line, like they have, and I don't really get the philosophy that was this year either, because you're always saying like, oh, you should just let them grow together, and they went into this year, and Austin's the only guy who really stuck to where he was. I mean, I guess the only success story is kind of Michael Dieter, because like he went from a guy who wasn't active all the time to now he's your starting center, and he's not old.
Where was he drafted?
I think he was third round.
Okay, that's kind of how that plays out.
I think he was third round, and so he's kind of a like I guess success story in that people thought like he was never going to get on the field, and now he's your starting center. But the other guys
that's kind of how that plays out though.
Robert Hunt, you're like, all right, he was right tackle last year. He was kind of highly graded. They kicked him in. You know, they love Jesse Davis so much. They give him this. He's protecting Tua's blind side, and he's got this bargain basement extension that they give him. Solomon Kinley and Liam Eichenberg. It felt like Liam Eichenberg was going to start. Then they go in with Kinley. Like I don't know. I don't know, man. I just think for Chris Grier, it has to be a night yesterday when you're eating your chicken parm. You think to yourself, might have had some whiffs.
Why is he eating the chicken parm?
That's how I soak my sorrows.
I picture you eat a chicken parm when you got fat cat syndrome. Like things are going so good. Things are going so good.
Stressy.
Yeah.
Stressy.
Chicken parm tonight.
Nah. I
think right now he's eating chips. Like just trying to what the hell? Like and so look. Those are valid points. Like the fact that Noah can't get on the field and is active and is a first man, dude. Think about this: a first round player at any position being inactive.
Yep.
Says either what about that player about
and Flo. It looks like, and Flo was asked about last week. He's got like no interest. He's like, I'm going to do what's best for the team. I'm like,
right. Well, it's not his job.
Jesus,
look, it is not his job. His job is to get the team ready for each week.
No, I understand.
Okay? Whoever you put on the team, that's not on him. So, I'm not for nothing, but Waddle, get your stretch on.
Guy goes,
your stretch on.
Y'all see Najee Harris stiff arm a fool to the ground? And we have duck farts in the backfield. Oh, my God. It was so manly. Dude. It was so manly.
Oh, it was. Like it all he needed was a finishing move. Unfortunately, he was carrying the football and it didn't matter. Look, there's a lot of football. Look, there are a lot of teams that are having these same conversations here because guess what? How about the Saints? Right? They threw up a goose egg, a donut, a terrible performance. But then you look at a team like Carolina. Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Seems to be working out.
Yeah.
Go figure.
It seems like it's working out okay. It seems like it's working out okay for them, but I just think I think for the Dolphins, the thing that's disappointing is you set yourself up with all these high draft picks and all of these opportunities, because that's all you want, right? Is you always say you just want the most cracks at it. But you don't want Leroy, your cracks can't be a complete swing and a miss by year 2. Again, it's like striking. It's not even a swing and a miss. It's like you're going down looking, Chris Grier. Like when you have a guy who's not even getting on the field,
right? And
then you look around the league and you're seeing all these second-year guys who are just blowing up, and you were in position to take a lot of them, and you're just like, all right, well, maybe if we get this thick stuff all around, maybe they'll work out. When some of these guys already feel like nailed it. And I don't feel like Chris Grier has any of those. I don't feel like you look up and down, except for one of them who plays for Pittsburgh.
Right. It seems like you can't have a whole roster of guys that you have to wait and see.
Right.
Some of them need to come right in and be a contributor. I would say the closest thing to that is what, Christian Wilkins?
I guess, yeah. He bats a ball down every week.
No, but he's a disruptor. He's a very athletic interior defensive tackle, and so a lot of times, a lot of guys. There's only been a handful of guys.
Javon Holland looks like, I would say, the best young guy right now. I think looks like Javon Holland. Like, he looks like, oh man, that dude. He flies all over the place. He looks like a really exciting player.
But what sucks is if he's got to make a bunch of plays, then they're not doing their job up front.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. Right. Javon Holland looks really, really fun. Gesicki is not like, I think this has not been off to the beaming start we were all hoping for. Certainly was a quiet week 1.
Well, I mean,
maybe you should have gotten to him more in week 2 because everybody else was dropping the damn football.
And one of the problems is that if you don't have the time, right, it's hard to say that a receiver didn't have any opportunities when, like, yeah, you ain't got time for all that. There was no time to scan the field or look somebody off or anything like that. What happens is you end up having to go with your first, maybe second option because of the time limitations that you have. So I don't know. I'm annoyed and I'm really disappointed at the performance I saw on Sunday. But all that being said, you also have to put it in, you have to look at it from the standpoint of there's 15 more games left.
Yep,
dude. If you're like this after the second game of the season,
I know.
You got to slow down a little bit.
It's all of it. Like, it doesn't feel. This is what I mean with statement games, Leroy. It doesn't feel like just one game. You
made it a statement game.
Yeah, but
the second game of the season. That's it.
Sometimes you go to the casino, you feel a little bit froggy early on in the night,
and you leave broke.
That's true. I feel poor.
Right.
No chips.
So look, I'm not. I was just so disappointed, but again, I chalked it up to that was a stinker game too. Now, to me, win or lose, going into Vegas, I want to see how the team responds. Because keep in mind, the last time they had a beatdown like this, it was the end of the season.
Yep. So
I want to see how this team responds, how the coaching staff responds, how the players respond. You're probably not going to have two, okay?
You think he's going to be out?
Look, if you're writhing in pain like that after rib injury,
yeah,
right? You usually, because it's going to be worse the next day.
He was down for a while. Like, I don't know when the cameras went off.
It's going to be worse the next day.
He was on his knees for a while and then got, labored back to the bench before he got onto the cart. They took him back.
I know that feeling. Doo-hoo.
You broke your ribs, right?
Dude, I've broke 8 of my ribs. Like when they take x-rays, there's like cartilage like from where they healed.
Didn't you play with a bulletproof vest on or something like that?
I played with something that was so like tight, right? That like I'd be in the huddle and I'm like, and they go taking short breaths and they go, "What's wrong with you?" And I look over at Vinny like this. So no, man, if you play like running back or something like that, because keep in mind, you hold on to the football. They telling you to put the helmet on the football. What happens if they miss a little left or from behind? That's ribs. So I wore the little flak jacket and then the big shoulder pads and then the elk. Dude, I'm telling you, I had body armor on for some of these games. But it just depends on, look, now, here's the problem with broken ribs. And I know all you clowns who think you're experts on broken ribs, or even sometimes you just tear the cartilage that holds the ribs together. And when the rib moves, it hurts. So you got to let that cartilage reset and get your rib right? It's a process, even though you don't have a broken rib. But for some of you people who say, so-and-so play with this, so-and-so play with that, there's a whole bunch of different levels to it.
Yeah,
here's the one thing you have to understand. There is no position on the field. There's 2 positions that use their core more than any other position. That is kicker and quarterback, right? All your strength comes from your core. So imagine having injured or broken ribs and asking the quarterback to throw the ball with zip down the field. So this could be
especially a guy like him too, because he's already told you he's not an all-arm. We know he's not an all-arm quarterback. Like he uses those hips, uses the body.
A lot of guys aren't. A lot of guys out there practicing the Dak Prescott. You see, James Winston was doing it. He practiced Dak Prescott.